Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for this edition of Thought and Action. Today I'll be joined by Nicole Stewart. She's an insurance agent with HealthMarkets. It is not your typical insurance. We're not talking about life insurance or property and casualty insurance. We're talking about legitimate health insurance for your family. And this is one of those areas where I don't know that people are aware you are paying the same price whether or not you work with someone. We're going to go through that in this episode today. So really the thought for the day is, are you maximizing your coverage? Are you legitimately getting what you pay for? And the action is, if you're not, find out, which is talk to a broker or talk to a professional about it and get the coverage that you need. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you're paying for it anyway. So go for it, get what you need, and find someone you can trust so that you can legitimately change it year over year as your situation changes or the plans change. All right, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. For all of our listeners out there, tell us what HealthMarkets is and your role in it and with health insurance specifically.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
HealthMarkets is a national brokerage, and what we do is we help individuals find insurance solutions, whether they're in the under 65 market, the Medicare market, life insurance, and even group health insurance.
Right. So you're legitimately looking at everybody, every state, what their options are from a health insurance standpoint, and how many options are there? Hundreds?
Hundreds. It depends on the state. Some states have state exchanges, others are on the federally funded marketplace. It really depends. So there are tons of options, which is what makes it so overwhelming.
Right. So with the Affordable Care Act, did it broadened, I guess, the scope of what was going on, or did it narrow it? Like, how did that impact things?
Well, the Affordable Care Act, what it really did was it divided insurance into two sort of categories. Sometimes we call it public and private, sometimes it's qualified and non-qualified, and that just means that some of the qualified plans are following all the regulation of the Affordable Care Act, and the non-qualified plans doesn't mean not good, they just don't follow the regulation of the ACA. That's all.
Right. So everything's really bifurcated. There's a lot of options, and then you step in, and what do you typically do? What's your process?
So we do a full needs analysis. We sit down with our clients. We talk about, what do they currently have? What are they looking to have? We look at their individual situations, whether that's, their typical medical costs, their prescription costs, how much they use the doctor or don't. Mm-hmm. A lot of different factors go into it, but we sit down, we talk about budget. Obviously, budget is a huge, important part of it all. And we help them create a plan and a solution that, is going to be affordable for them. Not only affordable on a monthly basis, but affordable, on a daily basis if they do need to go to the doctor, as well as, what happens if something major does happen. So we like to make it affordable for 3 different ways.
Right. And I think this is probably the most crucial point, the reason I wanted to have you on, is there a cost for you to do that, or is that cost picked up somewhere else?
So all of our services are completely free. It doesn't cost the client anything. You don't pay a higher cost for using a broker. The cost is the cost. That's determined by the Department of Insurance. Our services are free, so there's no reason you shouldn't use a broker. We're going to give you a breakdown of the pros and the cons of the options and help you make a decision that is, very objective.
I think I want to just reiterate that because it's such a crucial point, because I run across a lot of people, and I think one of the most misunderstood areas of most people's plan is healthcare. Because obviously our health is not something you can really plan for, and you're typically like, well, my situation's changed. I may have children. My children may have matriculated away. I may have drug costs. I may have my own business now. I may be in a public company. All of those situations change the coverage that you should have, and being able to navigate life, trying to go through hundreds of plans, right, and do it on your own is very daunting, because the plans also change, right?
Absolutely. They change a little bit from year to year. So that's why, you really do need to look at it every year. I tell all of my clients, it takes an hour a year to sit down and look at one of the most important things, in your financial portfolio, your health insurance.
Right.
It can really, cost you a lot more extra money if you make some of the wrong choices.
Right. And so and your cost, again, and for any broker, really, free. Because the cost of the plan is the cost of the plan. You are going to pay that cost regardless of whether you use a broker or not.
Correct. Brokers get paid on the back end by the insurance companies, so it's free service to all the clients.
Okay. So bottom line is there's really no reason not to seek professional help with something like this.
Nope. No reason not to.
So then that brings me to a second question, which is you mentioned the public versus private markets. Do you only, does that only apply to the public markets now that we have the Affordable Care Act, or does it apply to both? How does that work for you?
So, we as brokers, we can work on the market, we can work off the market. Again, there's no fee for either service on either side. But, that's the advantage of using a broker. We have access to usually all the plans that are available in that state. As HealthMarkets agents, we have a certain reputation that we uphold. We only use reputable carriers. So you're not going to get any kind of, dodgy insurance. But you will have access to things that you might not even have known were available. A lot of people don't know about non-qualified plans. And those are great options for people who are very healthy. They don't take any expensive medications, and they kind of go to the doctor once or twice a year, and they can save themselves a lot of money by switching to a non-qualified plan.
Right. I think a lot of times people full disclosure, you've helped me with my insurance, which is why I wanted to have you on. But I think I saved like $6,000 a year, maybe more. I think it was $500 or $600 a month by switching over. And I would have never known that it was even an option, because I just figured, well, you just got to go with whatever publicly is there. So it's extremely valuable. I've seen the benefit of it. And then again, you can help and really kind of transcend the public-private kind of divide and kind of get into what's the situation, like you were saying first, starting with that situation analysis and then kind of going down and building out whatever is the most beneficial, affordable option for people.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And, to your point, you said before, it changes every year. It really does. Some years somebody needs a surgery and then you need to make a change, or somebody's going to have a baby, or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. All of those little life events and things make big differences. So it does help to look at it every year, definitely.
Right. Now, do you also help with kind of business, like if someone owns a business and you're trying to construct out the health markets for, the actual business health insurance as well, or is it only personal?
So HealthMarkets does do group insurance. I just don't do a lot of it. It's not where my passion lies. I like to help small business owners. I like to help individuals. I don't know. That just is sort of how it started for me, and I kind of went down that road, and that's what I'm a lot more passionate about. I like really meeting people. I'm a people person, so.
Right. I think that's a good delineator too, is when you're going in, you kind of want to ask and make sure the person that you're working with really has a passion for whatever it is that you have a need for. Obviously, you're in there with the personal, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. But if you needed somebody, I'm sure you bring someone in that is very versed on the corporate side.
Absolutely.
They like
I have a bunch of people that I work with that, they don't do any individual, they do the group, I do the individual. We send each other business. It's a win-win. I know that they're going to be helped properly and in good hands, and vice versa.
Right. So I think it's great. And again, the cost is the cost.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's really no benefit in doing it on your own. Get a professional to overlook it and get the proper kind of coverage and advice. It brings me to the question that kind of comes up the most. This question comes up in terms of health insurance in general. Comes up a lot. It's part of our process at Family Fortune to make sure everybody has a defined plan and a professional they work with that helps them kind of dial it in as part of our team. But the one time of everyone's life that I think you really have to circle on a calendar is the transition to retirement, but specifically really 65 years old. That transition to Medicare, I think is you can't, if you don't look at it on that 65th birthday, you almost cost yourself a lot in terms of money, because the more time you wait, the more expensive that transition can be. Can you just talk through what that looks like from your standpoint as people hit that age 65, and how you really, some of the nuances that are really specific to that particular date?
Sure. So typically my clients, I start sort of putting the Medicare bug in their ear at about 63, mentioning that, are you going to work past 65? What's your vision? How do you see this going? As we approach 65 and we get, much closer to that, certainly 3 months prior to their 65th birth month, we are, in full Medicare mode. Are they, continuing on a group plan? Are they stopping their work? They need to sort of have some sort of decision made, because certain steps need to be put into place. So let's just say the average person is going to stop working on their 65th birth month. 3 months prior, they need to apply for Part A and B. A lot of people don't know that you need to apply for it. You do. And also, it takes time to process that application. Anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks, really, it can take. So it is a process. Furthermore, certain things with Medicare are time stamped. So you need to have proper prescription coverage. You need to enroll at the right enrollment periods. The enrollment window when you're initially turning 65 is 3 months prior to your birth month, and then 3 months after. If you miss that window, that 7-month window, there's definitely some knock-on effects with enrollment timing, but also product selection. Certain products are guaranteed within that initial enrollment period. So it does impact, further on the timing of everything.
Right. So what if you're still working? What if you just love your job, and you're not planning on retiring until you're, 70 years old? Say your 65th birthday comes across. Is it still important for them to engage at that point?
Yeah, it is, just so that you have a plan. Sometimes people think that they're going to be working till 70 and things change. But, if you are going to be working till 70, you at least want to know that you don't, if you're going to be on a corporate plan or some sort of other health insurance plan, then you don't have to get your Part B. You can delay your Part B. Sometimes people don't know that, so even though they have group coverage, they get their Part B, then they're sort of double dipping. They're paying for the Part B side, but they're also paying for their corporate coverage.
Right. Can you explain, I know that there's different parts, and I get them mixed up a lot of times too. How many parts are there? Just quick flyover, and then what are they? When you say Part B, so people know.
Original Medicare has 2 parts. Part A is your inpatient hospital services. Part B is your doctor's services, your medical services. Any doctor office, specialist, even doctors within a hospital sometimes, depending on the service. That's original Medicare A and B. Then we have Part C, which is the same thing as Medicare Advantage. And then we have Part D, which is your prescription coverage, drug coverage. And then we have Medicare Supplement, which is it's an add-on to original Medicare.
Right. So if that just confused you, you need to talk to a broker. And to be clear too, HealthMarkets isn't the only broker out there. There's a lot of brokerages out there. This isn't a plug for HealthMarkets. This is a plug for you getting advice from a good, qualified professional. That's the whole point. Because again, there's not many things I can say are free and valuable, but this is free and valuable. Actually, I shouldn't say it's free. You're already paying for it, so you might as well get what you paid for. It's kind of like recycling your cans. Like if you don't recycle it, well, you just gave the money away. So, it's obviously this is like that, only times thousands. So that said, let's go through one quick nugget as we wrap this up. What's one thing that no matter how old someone is, 25 to 85, 105, they should look at when the time comes for them to sign up for medical in this coming year?
I would say the thing that I see over and over and over is that impacts people heavily is drug costs. a lot of times people are a little complacent with it. Oh, it is what it is. That is sometimes true, but it actually is one thing that you can control. For example, on the Medicare side, a prescription drug card can range in prices. Sometimes taking a more expensive drug card can give you better coverage on your medications. So that's one reason for sure to, sort of look at the drug coverage. And the same thing in the under 65 market. Sometimes people always just want the best, premium, but they forget to look at the drug costs. And typically bronze plans, they have higher drug cost pricing as opposed to a silver or a gold. So if you're on expensive medications, it would behoove you greatly to maybe upgrade your plan so that you can actually save on your prescription costs. So yeah,
That's a good
definitely
point.
prescriptions.
We just had someone take a look at that, do a full analysis, and they also saved thousands just in the drug costs.
Oh, I believe
Just
it, yeah.
exactly like you said, and trying to kind of filter through the hundreds of options. They found one and they ended up saving, I think, $4,000 or $5,000 a year. So
Yeah.
that's a really good point. I didn't think about that. So everybody look at your drug costs. Look at the cost of your plan, and if you don't understand the quiz that we just had on parts A, B, C, and D, definitely give yourself, a moment to talk to someone. 1 hour a year?
Yeah, not even. I mean, probably,
1 hour a year.
Yeah.
Well, that said, thank you very much, Nicole.
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
your time. That was
Yeah.
super informative, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.